Your birthday is coming up. Someone asks, "So what are you doing for your birthday?" And you give the one answer that somehow throws everyone off. Nothing. It feels like just another day. And suddenly, you're the strange one. Your friends assume something's wrong. Your family says you're being difficult. Society makes it seem like if you don't blow out candles and post a happy photo, something inside you must be broken. But what if nothing is wrong with you? What if you're actually more aware than people realize? Because psychologists have studied this, and what they found says more about those judging you than about you. This video is for you. Whether it's sadness, growth, or something deeper, stay with me. Let's begin with the group no one talks about. The ones who stop celebrating not by choice, but because life taught them not to expect anything. In 1967, psychologist Martin Seligman discovered something disturbing. He called it learned helplessness. When someone goes through repeated disappointment without control over the outcome, their brain eventually stops trying. Not because they're weak, but because they adapt. And birthdays? They're basically a machine for unmet expectations. Here's the science. Your brain works on predictions. Neuroscientists Wolfram Schultz, Peter Dayan, and P. Red Montague showed that your dopamine system doesn't just react to rewards. It reacts to the gap between what you expected and what you received. So picture this. You're young. You expect a party. You expect your friends to remember. You expect to feel special. And when none of that happens, not once, not twice, but year after year, your brain calculates the pattern. It stops expecting the reward. It stops releasing dopamine. And eventually you stop caring. Not because you don't want to, but because your brain learned that hoping hurts more than letting go. So when someone says, "It's just another day," listen closely. That sentence didn't come from indifference. It was built from emotional scars. And the fact they say it calmly, that's not coldness. That's protection. But not everyone who skips their birthday is carrying wounds. Now, the second group looks completely different. These are people who honestly forget their own birthday. Not from pain, but because their mind is overloaded. Psychologists call this time blindness. And it's more common than you think. When you're deep in tasks, deadlines, or a life that demands all your attention, dates start to blur. Weeks blend together. Your calendar looks less like a plan and more like chaos. And here's the truth. These people aren't avoiding their birthday. They're not suppressing anything. Their brain simply labeled it not urgent, right next to that dentist visit. They've postponed 4 times in that endless to-do list that keeps growing. It's not that they don't care about themselves. It's that their focus is stretched across too many things, and one day slips away. Sound familiar? And then there's the third group, the ones who didn't forget, the ones who aren't hurt. The ones who looked at birthday celebrations and simply said, "I'm good." Not because they're cold, not because they're lonely, not because they're trying to prove anything. They just truly don't need it. And if that sounds like you, here's the science behind it. Psychologists Edward H. and Richard Ryan spent decades studying something called self-determination theory. And one key insight is this. The healthiest people mentally are those whose happiness comes from within, not from events, not from social rituals, and definitely not from a song. You never asked 30 people to sing in a restaurant. These are people who understood what researcher Philip Brickman called the hedonic treadmill, that endless loop of chasing the next celebration, the next milestone, the next external hit of happiness that never quite feels enough. People in this group stepped off that cycle. They're not missing out. They just stopped outsourcing their joy. Think about that. While everyone else waits for one day a year to feel special, these people learned how to feel whole on an ordinary Tuesday. And here's what confuses others. When you don't need your birthday to feel valued, it makes people uncomfortable because it challenges what they believe, that everyone needs the same things. That celebration is universal, that you should want the cake, the attention, the noise. But people in this group already answered that for themselves. They don't need a date to remind them they matter. They don't need 30 voices singing off key to feel loved. They already know. But not everyone reached this place peacefully. Let me show you something. You're 8 years old. It's your birthday. You've been counting down for weeks. You told everyone at school. You imagined the balloons, the cake, the moment where everyone gathers just for you. And then the day comes, and it's quiet. Maybe the people you hoped would come didn't. Maybe someone forgot. Maybe everything felt smaller than what you pictured in your head, and you didn't cry about it, not where anyone could see. You just quietly lowered your expectations, and the next year you expected less, and the year after that even less. Here's what most people don't realize. Researchers at Johns Hopkins University found that our brains don't just remember painful dates, they relive the emotion. Every single year, it's called the anniversary effect. Your calendar moves forward. Your mind doesn't. That 8-year-old version of you is still there, waiting. But here's the twist. Not everyone who avoids their birthday does it from strength. Psychologist Jennifer Crocker at University of Michigan studied something called contingencies of self-worth. And she found that some people disconnect from celebrations not because they're free, but because they're afraid. Afraid that if they let themselves want it and it doesn't go right, it will confirm what they already fear about themselves. So they step back, not from confidence, from self-protection. And that difference matters, because there's a gap between someone who doesn't need the party and someone who secretly wants it but won't admit it. So if you're watching this, be honest with yourself. Is it freedom or is it fear? Only you know. And the fact you're even asking yourself that question already means something. And maybe that's the real message. We've been taught that celebration equals care. That if you don't make your birthday a big deal, something must be wrong with you. But what if we've been measuring it all wrong? What if real self-love isn't about throwing a party? It's about not needing one. Maybe someone watching this spent their last birthday alone. Not because no one cared, but because the quiet finally felt enough. If that's you, you're not broken. You're part of a quiet group that doesn't need permission to feel whole. But just in case you need to hear it, here it is. You're allowed. If this video found you today, it wasn't random. Leave a quiet comment if you've ever spent a birthday alone and felt completely okay with it. If you want more like this, subscribe. The next video might understand you even better than this one did. There was never anything wrong with you.